Okay, so this activity is actually going to be a collection of smaller exercises, just covering things like the story editor, spell checking, and stuff like that. So you're going to open up activity 351, story editor. So the story editor is really a way for you to be able to remove formatting from your document and focus on the text. And there's a number of reasons for that. One of the most important reasons is that sometimes it's difficult to proofread text if it's laid out with images and other distractions. So the story editor allows you to proofread in a very stripped down way. So let me show you what I mean. So I've got some text here, and the fact that you can't actually see the text just means that I'm zoomed out far enough so that InDesign automatically turns the text into lines. That's called Greeking. So as soon as I zoom in, you can see it actually is text. So that's something to remember, is when you see these lines, it doesn't mean there's no text. It just means that InDesign is Greeking the text. So you can see that this is a story, and it's overset text. So the text is flows outside of this box and doesn't fit properly in the box. So if I select that and I go to edit in story editor, the story editor opens up as its own little panel here. I'm just going to make it a bit bigger. And you can see that it kind of looks like old-fashioned typewriter text, which actually is a lot easier for you to proofread and to check. But there's some really handy things here. So it gives you paragraph indicators. It also shows you where the overset text is. So this red line here is indicating that everything from the word "and" down here is actually overset. So if I go and select that whole lot there, let me just go back, hold down Shift and click there. So all of that text is overset. So I could actually edit the story here and cut it down until it's no longer overset. It will automatically update in the text frame on the document. So I'm just going to be lazy here, and I'm just going to delete the overset text. And if you look in my document now, it's no longer overset, so it automatically updates. You can do a lot of editing here as you go, and it's automatically going to update. So another thing is what happens if you've got something like this, which is text on a path, and you need to proofread it. So it's quite difficult to proofread text that's upside down. So what you can do is select it, edit in story editor, and there's the text there. So if I changed, let's say, the word Durban to eThekwini, you can see it automatically updates in this document. It's also become overset, so maybe I just take out South Africa, so it's no longer overset. Alright, so you get the idea. The story editor is really just a way of focusing on the text only. If I open up my info panel, so window, info, and then I open up my story editor, so I'll take this first frame again, this one here, and edit in story editor, you can see that it actually gives me character, word, line, and paragraph counts here. So that's pretty handy. If you are asked to create a document that is so many words long, this gives you your word count here, and as you're working, it's going to be updating all the time. Also, if you put dynamic spelling on, so if I go to edit and spelling and make sure that dynamic spelling is on, you can see that it actually highlights, just like you would expect in a Word document or something like that. It highlights spelling and grammatical errors. And if I right click on a word, I can choose from a correct spelling. Okay, so that's also a pretty handy feature of the story editor. Alright, so much for the story editor. Let's move on to spell checking itself. So I'm going to close this document. I don't need to save it, and I'm going to open up spelling. And I'm just going to select the frame, go to edit, spelling, check spelling. And I can choose whether I want to check the story, in other words what's just selected, or the open document, or all open documents. And this is pretty much the same as any spell check that you would get in an email application, in a word processing application like Word. I'm not going to explain it to you, it's pretty obvious. So that's how you would spell check a document. Let's just say, let me go through and say skip. Let's find something that is spelled incorrectly. These are all just, what is that? Stadium. Okay, so here, Stadium Durban, I need to put a space in there and then change. Also same here, space and change. So you get the idea, it's pretty basic. All right, so that's working with spelling. Now what happens if you don't want to change the spelling, you actually want to change words in a document? So we're going to close this and we're going to open up Find Change. Okay, so here we have a story on the left hand side. So we're going to focus on that first. So I'm going to select that and go to Edit, Find Change. And the first option at the top here is text. So what text do I want to find? I want to find the word Durban. And I want to change it to eThekwini. And I'm going to choose to just check the story, but actually it doesn't matter in this case because there is only one story. And I'm going to say change all. It comes up and it says searches completed, 8 replacements made. And okay, so now I can see wherever the word Durban was used, the word eThekwini has replaced it. So this can be done through an entire document, so very powerful. Alright, then next I'm just going to press done and selection tool, click away, and then I'm going to go back to edit, find change. So find change is pretty powerful because you can also look at objects. So if I go to object, I'm going to say find all documents with a drop shadow that is on. Okay, drop shadow on. What do I want to change? I want to change so that the drop shadow is off, and I want to put a stroke of magenta with a weight of 10 points. Okay, so, and you can basically change a lot of things here, but I'm just going to say that's what I want to do, and then say okay, and then change all. And you can see it says it found 5 objects and it made 5 replacements. So it's removed the drop shadow and replaced it with a 10-point stroke in magenta. Let's do another one. So I'm just going to clear these, clear. I'm going to say find all objects with a fill of cyan. So that would be all of these circles, and replace with a fill of yellow and a stroke of black with 10 points. Say okay, change all, and okay. So you can see it's gone and found all the cyan circles, changed them to yellow fill with a black stroke of 10 points. So you get the idea. You can do a lot of changes in one place in a document very easily. Alright, so next you can close this document, you don't need to save it. And the next thing we're going to look at is tracking changes. So we're going to open track changes, and it's the same story here. So now let's say that this document is being passed around a studio or an agency for spell checking, and you're going to get people wanting to make their own edits and changes. So tracking changes just means whoever has made the change, it's identified as them and it's identified as a change. So first thing you need to do is to make sure you have a username. So I'm going to go to File, User, and I'm going to say Mike, and I'll choose my color, let's say teal, and okay. Then I'm going to select my story, and I'm going to go to Window, Editorial, Track Changes. Okay, so that's the Track Changes panel. Then I'm going to go to Edit, edit in Story Editor. Okay, so now I can make my changes in the Story Editor and they will be tracked. So, whoops, I need to just do that again. Sorry, edit in Story Editor. So if I go in here and I change playground to park, can you see the way it indicates that I have crossed out the word playground and I've replaced it with the word park, and it is highlighted in the teal color, which is identified as my color. And also in the track changes it says Mike made that change, and this is the date and time that that change was made, and it was deleting text. Let's do another one. Let's say change harmoniously to peacefully, and then I'm also going to delete let's say this sentence here, so from there to there, I'll delete that. Okay, so all of these changes have been tracked, and I could then save this document, send it to the next person, they could change the username and they could make their changes, and so you get a pretty detailed account of who's made what changes. Now once this document comes back for the final editing, some decisions have to be made. So if I go back to the first change here, I can choose, do I want to accept that change or do I want to reject it? I can also just say accept all changes or reject all changes. So I'm just going to say accept, and you'll see that it changes that. Then to the next one, accept, next one, accept, next one, accept, and the final one, let's reject that one. Okay, so that's how track changes works. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.